Broadcasting live and around the world. From Cabana One, the only podcast that's all ball bearings. Your ultimate source for everything Fletch.
Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Laker Jim and his beat reporters will stop at nothing to make sure Fletch lives forever. They don't shower much. This is FletchCast.
Thank you, Sammy, and welcome, Fletch fans, to a historic episode of FletchCast. Today, we will crown the Chick Hearn Memorial FletchCast Quote of the Year. Joining me, as always, Jake and Big Bob. Boys, when we arrived to the SwarthowRealty.com arena this morning, we were shocked to see that the fans have remained here since last Thursday.
Yes.
No one told them to leave. They've been here chanting, doing the wave. Luckily, they don't shower much.
Yeah, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it looks like a war zone down there on the floor. It was a bloodbath down there.
Everything is covered in manure. When that quote went down, it jackknifed hard.
But two survived.
The Moon River people have had the wave going for now 3.5 days.
Yep.
And sadly, that will come to an end today.
And when you look back at these quotes, these two, I really do think that these two are the most popular. And I think when you hear them, for a lot of people, you immediately think of Fletch.
What Fletch quote would you say had the most disappointing season? Much like the Lakers of today.
Yes.
Fred the Dorfman not qualifying for the tournament. He was a huge flop.
Well, and there was a couple other ones that we heard on social media that didn't even get into the tournament, like he draws the foul. That one didn't even make it.
Yeah, he draws the foul. It was a big mess.
Yeah, that didn't get in.
They'll have their opportunity next year to compete again.
One thing to keep in mind, too, is that these were all Chevy Chase, Irwin M. Fletcher quotes. So who knows? Maybe next year we'll go with a different format. Maybe we'll do non-Fletch related quotes. Maybe we'll do Fletch Lives. Maybe we'll ask our loyal audience what they think we should.
I think that's a great idea. I think we could go in a lot of different directions as the years go on. So I think we'll be fine. We have a lot of material to still mine when it comes to Fletch quotes. Plus, we could always look at some of the quotes in the books and how they compare to the movies too.
Oh, book quotes. You really wanted to see that John Cocos.
I know, because that was really one of the ones that was as close to the book. Because I think in the book, Yemistrinsky or something like that, I think that's what he said. So it was close. So that one was kind of near and dear to my heart. And I wish it would have gone on a little bit more in the tournament. But
well, I think it got as far as it could possibly go.
Right.
Like Jim, you ask, were you surprised to see any go early? Sugar Mr. Poon, No Never Never. I was a little surprised it didn't go as to the end.
Yeah.
Because No Never Never
is
something that I say constantly. So, really there's so many that, but again, tough competition all around. And the two winners that we have, the two behemoths, the two giant quotes that we have, I think are very deserving of being in the finals.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Were both of these quotes that are left, were they 1 seeds?
Both quotes that are remaining were 1 seeds.
Okay. So we do have two of the most popular ones.
And that's also why we had to take the power out of our hands and give it to our audience.
You're right. Because it's hard for us to decide because we have so much love for both of them.
And this isn't something that should be decided by just 3 men. This should be decided by everybody.
Are we? All 3 of us? Oh, yes.
We're not men, that's for sure.
We are not.
I know you like to be manhandled, right? Isn't that what he says?
I don't like to be manhandled.
I like you, Bob. That's for sure.
Thank you.
All right, now listen, guys, before we make up our final vote, let's analyze the 2 remaining quotes right now.
Tonight, championship matchup. Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Versus. It's so simple. Maybe you need a refresher course. Hey, it's all ball bearings nowadays.
Here's the tip. 4 seconds, 3:50.
Let's take a little deep dive, like we always do, into the Moon River quote. Because a lot of times we just repeat the quote because it's a great, funny quote. we fail sometimes to realize the meaning behind the quote or where it came from or the history behind it. So the song Moon River was actually written for Audrey Hepburn to sing in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's back in 1961.
Drop your shorts and bend over.
River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday.
Was that Henry Mancini?
Yes, and it actually won an Academy Award for Best Original Song.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So Chevy was actually belting out a classic.
Yeah, it's got some clout. And Mancini had a great, reputation. He did the Pink Panther theme. He did a ton of great stuff.
And I think what makes this quote extra special and really excelled in this tournament was the fact that a quote that can be delivered in duress,
Yes.
a quote that can be delivered when you're not really prepared for the moment.
Right. A reactionary quote, something like you stub your toe or you get shot. If I ever got shot, I would immediately shout out Moon River. I know that about myself.
Right.
My question is, what is the correlation between a cavity examination and the song Moon River,
Well, he's up as, they say you're mooning someone when you're showing them your backside.
Well, that's true. Yes. You're right. That's a very good point. I never even thought about that. That makes perfect sense.
Much like we saw Chris Rock during the Will Smith incident at the Oscars, when Chris Rock was able to come back with that immediate, quick joke about having the shit slapped out of him, that was very much like Moon River.
Yeah.
A very reactionary quote that you have to be really sharp to deliver that type of quote out of the blue.
And you know what I was just thinking too, if he's using the whole fist, Fletch in that case would be wider than a mile. And that is the next follow-up line. So it's one of those stinkers.
The ample amount of lubrication. Is that what you're saying? A very generous amount?
Well, you saw it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder what a duet between Audrey Hepburn and Chevy would have sounded like. I think they're on two different pitches, but...
Moon River, Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time? Breathe easy.
And by the way, something else to consider, second time rubber gloves are mentioned.
That's right.
Or not mentioned, but kind of brought up in the movie too.
That's a good point.
There's a rolling scene there. Like Jim, I know you're a big memorabilia guy. Didn't you once own a Emmett Walsh autographed rubber gloves?
I did. I actually.
Oh my God! Do you still have them?
I do still have them. The problem was the latex cracked over the
I
years.
remember they were very flimsy. Yeah,
They were very flimsy. I still have it. I'll dig it up. He signed it very beautifully. It's a very beautiful autograph.
Not an easy thing to sign either.
No.
You have to have 4 sets of hands stretching that thing out. And then
He signed it with like a gel pen type of thing. And
that's he always seems like a really good guy, and he was so good in that scene.
Yeah, I love him in everything he's in.
We did the recasting episode, but when we look at it, he's just so perfect, so deadpan.
And he was also somebody we had in the record gym before too.
Yes.
We talked about his other movies we love. And you mentioned Back to School for one too. It's just everything he's in. He's just fantastic.
well, since we're on the topic, let's hear Emmett Walsh's opinion on the scene featuring Moon River.
They're the great scenes. I mean, Chevy's very proud of it. I know, because I've heard references, of it. That it's a bell. It's a beautiful little scene that rings like a bell. And it was a semi-improv on Chevy's part. The Moon River and using your whole fist, Doc.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time? Breathe easy.
And it played very well. The scene is just a perfect little scene.
So hang on. First thing I got to say, does everyone call him Chevy and not realize it's Chevy? Or is it not Chevy? Have we been wrong all these years? Are we the ones that are crazy? Why is everybody involved in this movie calling him Chevy? Burton William called him Chevy.
Tim Matheson.
Matheson called him Chevy.
Maybe it's just the years of good marketing from the Chevy Corporation that it's just been ingrained into them that when they think or see that word, they say Chevy.
Subconsciously, they pronounce it.
Right, because they're thinking of the automobile. It is very, very strange.
All right. Anyway, that took me, by the way, him calling him Chevy took me completely out of that quote. I missed the whole thing.
But he's right. It is a nice little scene, and it's very funny. And yes. I think we can agree that it's probably one of the most popular scenes from the movie. Do we know for sure, Jim, in the script, was Moon River in the script, or was using the whole fist line in the script? Do you remember?
Great question. Yeah, were those improv, or were they in the book too?
No, they weren't in the book.
Give me a second. I'll go run and get it. It's right here. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it. That's a great question. That's worth a little bit of inspection.
I was just wondering about that.
Here's Fletch and Frank, Larry. Oh, Dr. Dolan. Bees, Bar, Elephant Bucks. All right, guys, I'm looking at the script, and here's the differences between the scene and the line and the quote.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dolan tells Fletch, just relax. And he says, honestly, I feel fine. You better be married. He puts him into position. Okay. Fletch says, did I say my kidneys? I meant my ear.
Okay, that's not in it.
I wish that was left in.
As Dolan starts to probe from behind, Fletch says, ever serve time? Dolan says, breathe easy. And Fletch says, anyway, I was surprised Alan got the policy so easily. I know there's a history of cancer in the family.
So Moon River's improvised and ever serve time is in there.
And he says, whoa, look out there. You really needed the whole fist?
Ooh.
He says, just relax. And he says, I can't discuss another patient. Well, I can't find anything wrong with you. So, so the Moon River part is not in the script.
Okay.
That was an improvised scene by Chevy.
Maybe Chevy just watched Breakfast at Tiffany's, or maybe he just heard that song that day. You never know. Yeah. But great. What a great improvised line. And again, no shock that one of the lines that is considered one of the best lines by us, and I'm sure everybody else, is improvised. Mm-hmm. It shows how
100%
talented Chevy was.
We have one more castmate that wants to chime in on this quote. It's Marvin Gillette.
Okay.
So let's hear what George Weiner has to say about the famous Moon River line.
It's hard to pull out just one scene from the movie, but I must say that Moon River's never sounded quite the same ever since. I used to love that song, and now the association ruined it for me.
Big Audrey Hepburn fan, I think.
Yeah. Really seems like his delivery of Moon River has ruined that song for a lot of people.
Well, I think he's right. I think when you hear Moon River today, you don't think of Audrey Hepburn and Breakfast at Tiffany's. You immediately think of Fletch.
Without a doubt. And so I guess Gillette's rooting for all ball bearings.
That sounds like he might be.
Between Dolan and Gillette, it's a split.
Yeah, it's a split.
Dolan's voting Moon River, and Gillette's voting ball bearings. So speaking of ball bearings, let's talk about the other quote that's up for the championship title tonight.
Oh, come on, guys. It's so simple. Maybe you need a refresher course. Hey, it's all ball bearings nowadays.
Hey. Now, we can all agree that it's one of our three favorite scenes, and I think favorite scenes of Fletch fans everywhere. And I think our interview with Burton Gilliam really made our love for this scene and a love for the characters and a love for the quotes within that scene even stronger than they were before.
Mm-hmm. Ball bearings are just that, ball bearings. But obviously after the movie, it has taken on a whole new meaning, I think, in society and in culture, in pop culture. Because when you think ball bearings, I just don't understand how you can't immediately think of that scene.
Now, when it comes to ball bearings, I often find myself asking the question,
what the hell you need ball bearings for?
Bob, you usually have that info.
I'm no engineer, but the technical definition is that the purpose of a ball bearing is to reduce rotational friction and support radial and axial load.
What?
For us, I had Larry pull the microfiche, and here's all the information that she could find on ball bearings. Let's take a listen.
Let's take a closer look at a classic ball bearing. How do bearings work?
Maybe you need a refresher course.
Bearings are used to reduce the friction between two objects that are in linear or circular motion against each other.
Hey!
The first intuition came from Leonardo da Vinci. in his studies regarding friction. Then, a Parisian bicycle mechanic named Jules Serret was able to patent the first ball bearing on August 3rd, 1869. This invention allows him to win the first cycling race in history.
Woo. All right, Bob. So you were pretty close. You were basically right. I get it.
Yes.
Wonder if Da Vinci's were 30 weight.
Yeah, they facilitate motion essentially. So they make sure that things keep spinning.
I got you.
But okay, what about the gauze pads? Yeah.
Every engineer has their own way of doing things. So
funny.
You know what's funny though? This is hilarious. If you Google search Fetzer valve, Fletch and Chevy Chase come up in the search results.
Well, it's true. When you Google it, as far as they show like video clips, it's the first thing that comes up.
How great is that?
That's so great. Actually, this is totally random, but there's actually a Twitter account at Fetzer valve, and the profile picture is Chevy and Burton Gilliam.
We're going to give that a follow.
Look at that. It's right there.
I'm looking at the exact same thing you are.
Yes, I have to
follow give him a follow.
Oh my God, that is
We
fantastic.
are now the 12th follower.
Oh my gosh, so smart.
I'm sure a follow from us will get them going again.
Actually, there's more than one Fetzer valve. If you do a Google search or a search on Twitter, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 accounts. There's at Fetzer valves, another one named Fetzer valve, 7th Fetzer valve, and Fetzer valve, and they all have pictures of Chevy.
Come on, Twitter, verify the real Fetzer valve. 7 accounts. That's nuts.
To our listeners that are so loyal to us, if you haven't yet listened to our Burton Gilliam episode, go back and give it a listen.
Oh yeah,
because he has a great story all about that scene, and also the Quaker State story he tells about the oil and his endorsement deal. Give it a listen if you haven't yet. It is a great explanation of the scene. A lot of details that you would never know.
Gordo, back here.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, guys. I think now is the time.
Now
to find out.
Oh man, are you guys ready for this?
I'm sweating.
How many nights of sleep have you lost thinking about this, both of you? I'll be honest. I lost 2 nights of sleep, but it's only been how many days? 5 days? 6 days?
Now we have had this poll up since our last episode dropped.
Yeah,
and hundreds of Fletch fans have voted since.
Yes. Should we get a drum roll?
Oh, I thought we were going to do the Christmas Vacation drum roll.
Now the winner won 53% of the vote.
Ooh.
So it was very, very,
very
close.
close.
Very, very close. The winning quote only won by 11 votes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Not surprising.
This thing was like a seesaw all weekend long. And it was one particular day where one of them beat the other by this amount.
By 11 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right, let's do this. Hey, let's turn the crowd mic up a little bit so we can hear the crowd. That's perfect. All right, everybody. 32 of the greatest Fletch quotes of all time entered the tournament in hopes that they would be standing here at this moment tonight. 2 quotes are remaining. When with one more win, 1 quote will receive Fletch immortality. The winner of the 2022 Chick Hearn Memorial FletchCast Fletch Quote Championship is... It's all ball bearings. Wow.
Wow.
What a ride it's been. What a tournament.
Oh, thank God Vegas was taking bets on this. I just want a fortune.
I was glad that our votes didn't need to decide the winner because, I think we can go around the room. Jake, what were you going to vote for?
As much as Moon River means to me, and we talked about this on the last episode, how it all started with the message board, I think It's All Ball Bearings is just more quotable. Yeah. I think it is used more. I think a lot more people remember it.
Yeah,
it's like I said, it's really taken its place in pop culture now.
Yeah, I can't think of a situation where I could slide Moon River into a conversation, seamlessly and easily without there being a reason to do it. Whereas it's all ball bearings just fits naturally into any conversation.
Yeah.
Anytime someone doesn't understand what you're doing, all you have to do is explain to them it's all ball bearings.
I would have also gone ball bearings as well. So it would have been a clean sweep amongst us, but it wouldn't have mattered because the fans voted. The fans picked the one they wanted to see. And the fans were very passionate about it. Even in the comments on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook,
right?
People were very passionate about their picks. They wanted us to know who they picked and why they picked it. So, I just want to thank everybody that contributed to this championship tournament. It was a lot of fun.
And hats off to Moon River. It may have not have won this time around, and still, a hell of a competitor to make it that far.
Yeah, it gave it a great run. LJ, is the ball bearings line in the script?
No, now obviously we know the whole scene is not in the script.
Right.
So now that's a great point. I mean, really what it came down to, it was two things that were not scripted. Mm-hmm. I mean, the airplane hangar scene was scripted, but as we found out from the Burton Gilliam interview, him and Chevy went off on their own and they re-winged the dialogue.
Yep.
So 2 lines that were completely improvised wound up taking on each other for the title of the greatest Fletch quote of 2022.
And we have to give credit to Chevy, or Chevy, as some people like to call him, because it was all on him.
Yeah.
It was all on him.
It was.
So, big props to him. He really had the knowledge and the improv skills to really pull out some great one-liners. So that just shows the talent that he has that, 35 years removed, we're still talking about it.
The quotes that are scripted, the quotes that are not scripted are just so legendary. Just one of the most quotable movies of all time. And I can't wait to do this again for Fletch Lives and non-Fletch related quotes and anything else that we want to do along the way. This was a great, great time doing this. I'm going to put you both on the spot right now. What quote comes to mind just off the top of your head? Doesn't have to be your favorite quote, but if I were to say, give me a non-Fletch, non-Chevy quote, which one comes to mind? I'll go first. Oh. Just because I said this quote today. I'm going to say a quote that comes to mind for me is, Velma makes the most unusual lemonade. And I asked that, I bring that quote up. What do you think was in Velma's lemonade that makes it so unusual?
I think for me, you're skating on thin ice, Larry. It's probably, one of my favorite, non-Fletch Frank lines.
Yeah.
And without putting any thought into it when you said it, the first quote that came to my mind is, what are you doing, some stunt flying or something?
Well, of course. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That was all Fletch quote that came to mind first.
Yeah, it's going to be fun doing this again. I can't wait.
But I think that's a great idea. We should be pulling lines from supporting characters because there are a lot of great ones in that one too.
Oh, so I mean, we could do 64 lines easy.
Yeah.
We won't.
Yeah.
We won't do that, but we'll do 32 again, maybe.
When it
16.
comes, it comes. Hey, that was another one that didn't make it, did it? Not talking about communists, are you?
It did. It was a playing quote line.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was. That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, but yeah, there were so many that didn't make it.
I would say the standout quotes that didn't make it were Fred the Dorfman, which I really think could have made some noise in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
he draws the foul, I think, is one. Another one is, I don't like to discuss my business on the lanai.
Yeah. If you're wearing rubbers, leave them outside. You know what?
If you're wearing, that whole scene.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll take not 32, maybe 16 or 8 quotes that didn't make it, and we'll have an NIT tournament. What do you guys think?
I'd be all right with that.
They should compete almost like the Olympics,
where they have to qualify for next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a great idea. Maybe we'll have one division of the quotes that didn't make it go in next year's tournament.
All right, Fletch fans. Well, listen, we'd like to thank all of you guys for participating with us. We really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun for us.
I loved it. I think it was great.
We have one more episode left in season 2. And then we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a little hiatus. Having a baby on Thursday.
Yay! How about that?
Right, little Fletch is coming very, very soon. So for Jake and Bob, I'm Laker Jim.
It's time to close this one out, Chick.
This game's in the refrigerator. The door is closed. The light's out. Butter's getting hard. The eggs are cooling, and the Jell-O is jiggling.
We'll see you.
See ya.